Yes, please. So, thank you so much, Professor David Rebs, for introducing me to this session. And thank you so much, Professor Dr. P.R. Datta, for always making me a part of this conference. So, this is actually as an excerpt of the book that I have done, which is now going into the print. If my publisher and I already have agreed on a timeline, I mean, we are agreeing on various timelines, but most likely we have a stated position that it has to go into print in the spring. And the title of this book is, as you know, is Less is More. The speed, slow is speed, and the contentment is new nirvana. I have deconstructed this over multiple chapters, but this is the first chapter that I'm running with currently, and this chapter is actually titled as How the Glut of Consumer Choice Leads to Decision Paralysis, which I have written as my seminar theme. And it's primarily that when we actually feed with endless choices, we end up choosing confusion. So that has been the premise, and this is how I'm going to read the first chapter. And we know that our brain's frontal parietal cortex, I just have to bring this up, yeah. So we know that our brain's frontal-parietal cortex will be overwhelmed if it is put at the task to estimate the total number of the products in the planet. The global market research firm, SE Nielsen, has listed over 500,000 brands in the world with more than 2,000 product categories. And the QRS catalog is now up to about 100 million entries. The United Nations Standard Products and Service Code, a classification system jointly developed by the UNDP and the Dun & Bradstreet for products and services that's used by the governments and industries around the world, has more than 40,000 commodity titles. And there are some 350,000 chemicals are actively traded in the global commerce. Currently, the eBay has around 2.1 billion live listings and some 385 million products available on Amazon. Of these, 380 million are physical goods and remaining categorized as digital. Craigslist, one of these world's largest classified advertisement website, founded by Craig Newmark, that lists anything from a church communion to adult service in a gig economy, has over 80 million new classified advertisements each month and over 1 million forums postings for the same time. So some of these numbers are much beyond than some 8.87 million identified species in this planet as counted by the International Union for Conservation of Nature. So today, more shoppers and mega market complexes have moved into the global south. The Iran Mall, world's largest shopping mall, spreading over 317,000 square meters, houses innumerable number of stores and a diamond atrium. This impregnable fortress was created with a longest continuous concrete pour between 1 and 6 March 2018. For a period of 5 days, 4 hours, 11 minutes into a huge multi-purpose complex structure, and which obviously made into the Guinness Book of World Records. Merely the window shop, all the products can take 4 full days for a sophopholic suffering from onomania, the abnormal impulse of compulsive buying. So the Chorchok weekend market in the Bangkok, known as the world's largest and most diverse weekend market, has more than 15,000 stalls selling anything from an extinct wildlife flagged by the threatened on the IUCN Red List to sex toys sold in the adult-only entertainment zone of Nana Plaza, still prohibited under Thai laws. South China Mall in the Wanzhong district in the Dongguan in the southern coastal China, now regarded as world's largest mall by the gross leasable area with 6.46 million square feet of retail space, is a melting pot of the shopping world with 7 zones modeled on international cities, including Amsterdam, Paris, Rome, Venice, the Caribbean, and California. We do not know how these products serve us. If we stop growing this list of the product, sound an impossible request to companies like asking rabbits to stop breeding, we will collectively need many more lives to consume them. Salsify, a 2024 consumer research report, paying particular attention to the amount of time consumers spend online at each stage of this buying journey, has arrived at some revealing data. The findings say more than half of the consumers, 58%, report shopping online at least once a week, with 30 to 40% of shoppers spend 10 to 30 minutes researching before they purchase, and another 25 to 31 minutes spend 30 to 60 minutes, and 20 to 32% spend several hours or even days researching on the same. According to the Time Use Institute, the average American spends 41 minutes in grocery store per shopping trip with $430 at his or her disposal. So it is most likely that we have to outlive ourselves and remain with enormous supply of the money to ensure our shopping of these products endure. After being consumed by our necessary indulgences such as sleeping, sexing, studying, eating, socializing, we do not know how many active hours we have for buying these products. So some parts of our primary indulgence devote to either consumption of the product or decision spent on buying the same. On an average, human beings spend 1/3 of his or her lifetime in sleeping. To be precise, 229,961 hours. A staggering 32,098 hours eating and drinking beverage, 32,965 hours driving a motor vehicle, 90,360 hours of life in cubicle offices or working from home or working in the street, 28,300 hours on the internet, 80,486 hours watching television, almost amount to watching all the Friends episodes over 868 times. And enormous hours in cleaning. So both sexes, the male and female, shopping do not consume as many hours they are notoriously made out to be. Hence, we are most likely to be left out with a vast swaths of shopping malls, boulevards, and narrow alleys lined with glass fronts showcasing products, millions of the unseen web pages cataloging the products, tons of unsold garments incinerated or sent to landfills, and tens of thousands of Amazon-like warehouses with excess inventory called dead stock, or obsolete products for which there is no longer any buyer, not to include the millions of the damaged products recalled by the manufacturers. This is a very dystopian world to be imagined. The bigger catastrophe is still awaited. The unsold products can derail economy, strain relationship between countries, as each would try to dump this on the other. Diplomats still try to work overtime to restore relationships. These efforts will not be enough, and countries can go into war, much worse than the opium wars between China and Britain in 19th century. So can we not imagine where our choices producing the social system and industries lead us to? This seems to be an ominous possibility. It is more having to ask for the cats with 9 lives, surviving through the highs and the lows of fleeting life, from high virility to the worst fragility. Do we even have a chance of survival within our lifetime to consume a minuscule of these products that we have created? Jeffrey Hinton warns us about a coup of artificial intelligence, digital lives, ending the biological evolutions. Humanity is just a passing phase in the evolutions of intelligence, no matter how we end up with. Maybe like the abdominal way to, it is an abominable way to choose to kill the rats in the medieval Belgium, the tradition which is kept up till present day, known as the cat parade. Or in the same tradition, the French did by burning the cats alive as a form of entertainment. The assembled people shrieked with laughter as animals howling with pain were singed, roasted, and finally carbonized. The consumer choice is a paradox. In the paradox of choice, having everything can mean having nothing at all. Apparently, the exercise of choice is expected to lead to finding a solutions to a problem such as the void in absence of such a product. But it begets a dramatic explosion of choice. Hence, it paradoxically becomes a problem instead of a solutions. As we obsessively live to deal with multiple voids and seeking solution to these problems make us feel overwhelmingly perplexed. Choices lead to more choices. Our cognitive faculties run over time. Our resources deployed to exercise the choices never always sufficient. Our motivations, mood swings, mental dispositions for this exercise of choices can always remain the same. Certain time there is an uptick in the motivation, and then either it plateaus or withers or disappears altogether. It is never possible to sustain this motivation to pursue all the products all the time. In truth, the availability of the choice doesn't lead to more products, or so to say, the distinctive choices based on cultural experiences further create a score of look-alike products. It is a self-perpetuation myth of explosion of products. An extension of the series of products such as the wide-body Boeing 767-200, the first prototype that flew in 1981 and subsequently introduced into the commercial service in the following year, so far have so many variants of the same 767 family. It is more like a McDonaldization of the world, a dominant virus of cultural experience in this global village. Naomi Kane, in his book No Logo, says West have been catching glimpses of the kind of a global village where the economic divide is widening, our cultural choices narrowing. Hence, what appears to be a raft of choices is merely a particular cultural choices of many forms. It is largely the same cookie cut, mass-produced products coming through the same model of cultural dispensation, through the large supply chains, through the multiplications of the stores and online displays, through the same sales pitches and advertisement puffery. Yes, now perhaps these are pushed through in bigger volumes through more structured and organized supply chains, harnessing technology such as artificial intelligence. Hence, our will exercise to buy a product is creatively deceived. We largely fed the same products with the false sense of satisfaction of acquiring through abundance of more choice. American psychologist Barry Scrolls, in his epic book, The Paradox of Choice, Why More is Less, argues that eliminating consumer choices can generally reduce anxiety for shoppers, slowing down either the availability of the products or the means to access this product is the solution to the family and other individual needs. So tell us how many of our products have transformatively changed, so-called the metamorphosed, as we see a 40 of gray pillar turning into a winged butterfly with bright colors. Isn't our Tesla electric car fundamentally the same as bench patent motor wagons built in 8 box?
I think he has frozen.
About the wheel harnessing to a motor engine. Yeah, I think. Is it okay now? Are you getting me now?
Yes, we got you now.
Are you getting? Yeah. So I think probably for some part, let me go through those lines again. Tell us how many of our products have transformatively changed. Are you getting me now?
Yes.
Are you getting me now? Hello?
Yes.
Yes, it is clear.
So tell us, So tell us, many of our products have tell us how many of our products have transformatively changed, so-called metamorphosed, as we see a body of gray caterpillar turning into a winged butterfly with bright colors. Isn't our Tesla electric car fundamentally the same as the Benz patent motor wagon built in 1885 by German inventor Carl Benz, or the Ford Model T launched by the Ford Motor Company in 1908? It is all about fixing the bug. A car has remained similar to a horse carriage. Isn't the McDonald's largely selling the same burger as McDonald brothers Richard and Maurice started before World War II in San Bernardino, California? Aren't the babies wearing the same diapers produced in the late 19th century by Maria Allen? Aren't the women secretly soaking their body waste in sanitary pads during their menstruations from the label named as Lister's tables in 1888? Aren't the astronauts wearing the same synthetic material while working in the extreme conditions right from the Soviet golden age of space exploration, when the Russian astronaut Valentina Tereskova, who became the first woman in space, to American astronaut Sunita Williams, who is now stuck in the ISS space station due to technical snags with Boeing Starliner service modules. Are we not sitting in the same cubicle office initially conceived by designer Robert Frost in Scottsdale, AJ for Herman Miller in 1967, named as Axon Office 2? Are not we living in the brick houses, in the same brick houses, which origin can be traced back to the Mohenjo-daro and Harappa civilizations from 7,000 years back, or the Persian Gulf around the Tigris region in the form of the air-dried mud brick houses? Are not we are we not attending to the same classroom-based study for our academic credentialing from the time the Plato's Academy in 387 BCE, in essence, or by the mystics and the sages? How anything from our initiation ceremony, from the time we entered into the world to our last rites, irrespective of which faith we born into, has not changed much. Except the commerce around these has changed, hence enforcing new ways of obtaining these products and services, thus making us believe of an explosion of choices. If such as process is continuously creating new consumer experiences, we are not sure if this can be called new products. Can a product designated as new based on the addition or subtractions of the constituents, or the experience of obtaining and consuming this product by the sheer force of commerce and organized society? Well, it would be utterly wrong to say novelty products have not entered into human lives post-industrialization. But you'd see industrialization has mass-produced most of the products of the agrarian societies, from the clothes to footwear, from needle to knitwear, from underwear to umbrella. Anything, let us deal with the phenomenon of the choice in hand, as our societies social engineered this entire ecosystem around this. The economy of the choice seems to have been co-created with the product, which leads to a product experience. The overwhelming of the choices, whether fastidiously exercising this living non or cherry-picking choices, keeping in view of the budget and time constraint, either way the consumers encounter stress. Now, Barry Squarth elaborates on the psychological insights of Herbert Simon from the 1950s, particularly as they relate to the modern consumer's experience of the stress when faced with decision-making. In today's marketplace, where choices are abundant and readily accessible, the distinction between two types of decision makers, maximizers and satisfiers, become increasingly relevant. A maximizer approaches decisions with a perfectionist mindset driven by a choice to ensure that each purchase or choice made in optimal one. This quest for best means thoroughly exploring and evaluating every conceivable alternative, which not only intensifies the cognitive burden, but can also result in heightened anxiety, as sheer volume of options makes it psychologically overwhelming. Conversely, a satisfier operates under a different set of principles. While they possess their own criteria and standards for decision-making, they do not expend excessive energy worrying about whether a better option exists. Instead, they are content to make decisions that meet their requirement and provide a satisfactory outcome. Squarth, aligning with Simon's observations, posits that satisfying may in fact be more advantageous strategy for psychological well-being in a world of seemingly endless choices. By opting for satisfactory solutions, satisfiers tend to experience lower levels of anxiety and greater overall satisfactions with their decisions. Interestingly, some meta-analyses have shown attention to the complex relationship between a number of choices available and the anxiety experienced by the consumers. While these analyses did not find a consistent or a meaningful correlation between choice and anxiety at large, they suggested that this could be due to the vacancies in study methodologies or context. So this opens a window for further research into specific preconditions that may intensify choice overload in certain individual situations, potentially revealing underlying psychological traits or situation factors that contribute to the stress experienced during the decision-making process. So understanding these nuances could offer...
Yes. Thank you.
Understanding these nuances could offer different insights into how consumers can navigate their choices and cognitive frameworks they employ when confronted with a plethora of options. I could have gone on because the chapter particularly has a mention about the FOMO, but I'll end here that why this FOMO is also, which is called the fear of missing out, is also a fallacy, and how this fallacy needs to be defeated. So rest, you need to get hold of a copy of my book to read. And I end here. And thank you, everyone, for listening to me. And if there's any question, I'm ready to answer. Or it can be during the break.